All right, and we'll get started. Ladies and gentlemen, GLT leader Lois Conrad and yours truly, Second Vice District Governor Jeremy Bair, proudly present to you the second of 3 leadership Zoom seminars entitled Best Practices in District 22W. Our panel members tonight are from a variety of clubs in a variety of positions and a variety of regions, so that all clubs are represented, as 24 clubs are slated to present over the Zoom series. Each guest has been given up to 4 minutes to discuss their particular best practice in Lions service. At the end, District Governor Charlie will make brief comments. To value everyone's time, anyone else in the audience should have no interjections. Thank you in advance. I served as zone chair for our first guest, who is a past district governor from Region 4, representing the Roaring Run Lions Club tonight to talk about working with community organizations, is past district governor Evan Gillette.
Good evening, everyone. I wanted to take this opportunity to thank you for this forum to talk about some of the best practices that we have. What I wanted to talk about is what I call strategic alliances. This is when a business or an organization like Lions Clubs join together for the purpose of mutual growth and benefit to each organization. Strategic alliances or strategic partnerships are when 2 or more businesses enter into an agreement to support mutual growth and promoting objectives and goals. What makes these partnerships successful is the partnership builds and supports the strategic objectives of both businesses or organizations. Partnerships, or by working in partnerships, we reduce risk. Working with the same group over and over, we can build trust, and we can build genuine, relevant partnerships. In the end, it's important to remember that everyone brings something to the table. I'd like to talk about a business example of a strategic partnership. And this starts with Disneyland and their theme resorts. They're always looking for new and exciting attractions to bring people to Disneyland. Working with another company, Chevrolet, an automaker, they set up an attraction every year so that Chevrolet can promote their new cars, their new technology. This gives everybody a chance to touch and test the new technologies. Chevrolet gets feedback and promotes their product, while Disneyland gets a new attraction. So this is one example of a strategic partnership that companies can have. In terms of Lions, many of our Lions clubs work with local fire departments. So the fire department often gives our Lions clubs a place to conduct their fundraisers, to hold events, and reach out to the community. Our Lions Club should then in turn reach back and support the members of the fire department. Simple first responder appreciation days, or simple things like delivering donuts to the people that are volunteering their time at the fire department. Both organizations get a little something out of it. Lions get a place to do fundraisers. The fire departments get support for their members. One of my favorite ones is working with our local libraries. Lions clubs are always looking for places to do service. Libraries are looking for opportunities or reasons for people to come to the library, under normal circumstances, of course. But you can always work with your library and build on that relationship. They have the space, you can provide the event, and people will come. Third, I'd like to talk about youth sports. Many of our Lions clubs partner with youth sports organizations. We as Lions clubs can give them a place to play, to have their experiences, to build their sportsmanship, and just generally have fun being a kid. When we work well with these youth organizations, we get to have a good service project. Their parents can help us with fundraisers and provide manpower for our other service projects. Overall, finding these partnerships, building on them, and establishing that base of trust, mutual support, and sharing the risk, like cost, is important, and both organizations can get benefit out of this partnership. That's what I had prepared, Jeremy.
All right, thank you very much, PDG Evan. Our next Lion is here to discuss the importance of rotating club presidents. He's from Upper North Carroll County in the Lyndeborough Manchester Club. This year marks his 50th year in Lionism, and 30 years ago, he was district governor. So I'd like to introduce Andy DeMario Sr.
Thank you, Vice District Governor Jeremy. It's a pleasure for me to be able to talk tonight on the importance of rotating our club presidents. And there are a number of reasons for this, and I'd like to give you a few of the most important ones. If you have the same line serving as president for consecutive years, your club can get stagnated and does not grow. No new ideas, no new fundraisers. You do the same thing over and over. And before you know it, your members lose interest and stop coming to meetings. Why if you have a president that forgets your members are volunteers and treats them like employees? I've seen this happen and it's almost destroyed a very great club. That's why we hold elections every year, to give each member the opportunity to make a difference and improve his club's growth by running for our different positions on the leadership level. You might ask yourself, what if you have a president that's well liked and does a great job? So ask yourself, is it fair to your other members who have the desire to be president, not to give them the opportunity? When the election is held, each member should have his or her opportunity to run for the office of their choice. Many times we serve as president, a second, third, and sometimes various, a fourth time, and that's okay when it's necessary. But give the other line his chance or her chance. And remember that we're all volunteers. We all have potential, and this is our way of showing our leadership skills. So let us move up the ladder to president and move on from there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, past District Governor Andy. You are free to move on to your next meeting as needed. I just
Thank you,
got a
sir.
call. Yes, sir. I just got a call from Lion Nancy Keller Bondi, and Lion Mo is unable to use his internet because of the weather. So he's going to join us at our next leadership Zoom. That brings us to Region 2, a representative from the Hancock Lioness Lions Club. And Lion President Casey is here to talk about member retention. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Okay, we good? As Jeremy said, thank you for inviting me, Jeremy. I'm president of the Hancock Lioness Lions Club. I feel that one of our best practices is member retention. Usually we don't lose members unless it's to sickness or death or an occasional transfer from the area. Even then, those members want to continue with us, so we keep them in the loop. We aren't a big club. We are presently at 29 members, and we aren't a big community. Hancock's population is around 1,550 people, although we do draw a little from the surrounding areas. And we don't see a lot of new people moving into the area. So it's very important to try to hold on to the members that we have. So we strive to retain members in the following ways that works for us. We include all members in projects and fundraisers. Everyone available knows that they are wanted at the project. In the few projects where we are limited due to space, for example, we mix it up with different members so that no one is left out every time. We do not insist that members attend meetings. It is impossible for some with their work schedules to be there, but they support the club in other ways, such as helping at fundraisers or projects. If it works for them, it works for us. Even though we have committees, all businesses is discussed at our meetings. We plan events together. No money for projects or activities is spent without the knowledge and vote of everyone present. Those not present are informed of any upcoming events, projects, or expenses. The club discusses and votes on our budget so that each member knows how and where our money is spent. We feel that members work for the money that we raise, and they should know how each dollar is helping the community and our Lion causes, that they should feel proud of all they do. We do not have local club dues. We raise money for our administration fund in fun ways by holding in-house birthday auctions each month or our pound party. The pound party is our yearly auction where all members are encouraged to bring a wrap gift in to auction off. This tradition started when we were a Lioness Club in the 80s and is still that we all look forward to. The auctions have worked for us so far, and importantly, we do not spend what we do not have. As the district is aware, insert smiley face, we bring any member who wants to come to LVRF and Leader Dog banquets, to cabinet meetings, to region and zone meetings. If they enjoy it, or if they enjoy the food, they will come. All of our members know that they are welcome. All members receive the minutes, the weekly reports, and any other Lions news through our secretary. Our Sunshine Committee and secretary keep check on members and see that they receive birthday, anniversary, wellness cards, and or phone calls. And we try to have fun no matter what we do together. So overall, we want all members to be involved with a feeling that this is their family, their Lions Club. That's why we feel that member retention is one of our best practices. And in closing, as you may know, Region Chair 2 Jeannie's husband, Wayne, they're both members of our club, is in the hospital. He's been in there for a few weeks and he's in serious condition. So please remember Wayne and Jeannie in your prayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Casey, for sharing tonight. It looks like we have a weather miracle and Lion Mo is with us after all. He just disappeared from his chair. Lion Mo, can you hear us? Okay, go ahead and turn on your microphone. A couple months ago, I attended the milestone charter of the Middletown Lions Club in Region 3. One of their Melvin Jones fellows, Lion Mo Bondi, was in charge of the portion that discussed the history of the club. So here tonight, Lion Mo is going to talk about history-infused charter nights.
Thank you, Jeremy. Recently, the Middletown, Maryland Lions Club celebrated their 90th charter night. And as you can expect, it was a very special occasion and deserved special treatment. I was asked by our president, Wendy, if I would put together a 15-minute presentation. Now, I believe that knowledge of the history of your club helps promote a strong sense of being proud of your organization. First, I wish to say a little bit about myself. After several years as a volunteer at the Antietam National Battlefield Park in Sharpsburg, Maryland, and answering numerous questions from visitors about the Battle of Antietam, I found that two of the most important things that made a worthwhile experience for the visitors were, number one, providing a narrative that gets the visitors emotionally connected to the terrible event that occurred in September of 1862. And second, to give them some information that they did not already know. Now, what I learned at Antietam, I transposed to our Lions organization, and in particular, the presentation on Charter Night. Now, remember, it had to affect the emotions of the listeners. And secondly, it had to present new information, something that they didn't know. One way to fulfill each of these requirements was to infuse experiences of present club members into the history narrative. In our case, we were fortunate to have several members that had been members of the club for decades. Two of the members, one recently deceased, were children of charter members and took part as young children in many of the club activities almost 90 years ago. In my presentation, I decided described what the town was like 90 years ago in Middletown. I described how about 50 different teachers, ministers, and working store owners gathered at Kepler's Inn on West Main Street in Middletown. And at the end of the meeting, 32 of the men signed up to become charter members of the new club. Now, their charter was approved by the Lions organization on March 16th, 1931, and it was signed by Melvin Jones himself. In 1932, the new club put on a Christmas party. Janet, a daughter of a charter member, and she was present at the 90th charter night. And Frances, who was also a daughter of a charter member, but recently deceased, they sang Jingle Bells. This was 90 years ago. And Corky, a son of a charter member, performed We Three Kings. Now, I followed this with a bit more history infused with activities of other current members of our club, and I threw in a little bit of humor here and there. Now, my goal was on Charter Night was to tell the history of our club infused with experiences of our present members. The inclusion of their stories into the history created an emotional connection. Learning new information made it possible, made being present for the members worthwhile. After my presentation, two of the members actually came up to me and thanked me for including them in the presentation. My hope is that as we learn more about our club's history, we can say that we are proud to be a member.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thanks, Lion Mo. As I've been going around and doing some charter nights myself with different clubs like Harney and networking with the Tawnytown Club, I've been using newspapers.com. They archive old newspapers of Lions articles and everything else you can look at. And for Carroll County in particular, at the bottom of the website for the Carroll County Public Library, they archive all the Carroll County Times. So I'm interested to see as I go around to the different clubs, how many newspaper articles I can find to do exactly what you just talked about. So thanks a lot.
Great.
Okay, good. Our next guest was supposed to be from Region 1, Lion Chris Nichols, to talk about direct events with youth with blind or visual impairments. You may know that in about 10 days, they're going to have their visually impaired skiing, and I hope to be able to go see that firsthand. And he was supposed to speak tonight. I hope that he'll be able to join us in 2 weeks as we continue with some of the other seminars. I'm going to skip now to the Westminster Club. In past years, when I visited, I've heard about some of the grants they've been getting, and it's quite impressive. So I've asked Lion Diana Fraser to join us about grant writing for service and the great things that her club has been able to do because of it. Lion Diana.
Great, thank you, Jeremy. Good evening, everybody. You know the old saying, it's better to be lucky than good. Well, we got really lucky before COVID hit. We were trying to get companies in the Westminster area interested in donating money to us for our fundraising. And instead of hitting up individuals all the time, we thought, well, we'll go after some companies. Well, they wanted to donate to a tax deductible organization. Very well aware that Lions clubs are not tax deductible charitable organizations. So I'm going to put up briefly on a screen here. Let me put up just a little slide that sort of tells you what we did. So as you know, Lions clubs are 501c4 organizations under the IRS tax code. So we learned a lot about tax code. And most companies at that time, we were still looking at companies, wanted us to be charitable nonprofits, 501c3s. So this was in 2019, and we went and we met with the Community Foundation of Carroll County to be able to use their 501c3 tax status. And that turns out to be a lot less work and a lot less expense than forming your own 501c3 organization. So we formed the Westminster Lions Club Foundation, which is really the same organization, but we also now have 501c3 tax status. So any contribution to the foundation is tax deductible. So we thought, well, rocking and rolling, we can get all these donations from businesses in the area and we can start getting real money. And then COVID hit 2 months later, because we sort of celebrated in January of 2020, and then COVID hit, and there we were with our 501c3, and a lot of organizations, a lot of companies were shutting down. So interestingly, then we heard from the Community Foundation that there were grants that we would be eligible for to help people in the area with food, shelter, things like that. That obviously was a big problem in COVID because people were losing their jobs, losing their sources of funding. So we applied for one small $1,000 grant, and we were delighted to get it. And then we got kind of excited about that, and the county contacted us and said, hey, we've got federal money from the stimulus package. Do you want to apply for that? Well, we quickly became really good at writing grants, and it's a lot of work. And I've written a few things here. I don't know if you have time to look at it now, but it'll be included in the recording. But it was very new for us. We ended up getting 2 grants from the federal government over the last 18 months. They were both for $5,000. We used it all to support local food pantries and low-income housing residences. We helped people there get groceries. Just, Carroll County Food Sunday had closed down, so we worked with the existing food pantries in the area that were still operating and trying to get food out to people. And we found it was really helpful. And the county, which was managing these grants for the federal government, was delighted to have us doing it because they knew that we were really in touch with our community. So it was a real experience. It's an interesting project if you want to take it on. I just tell you, it's a lot of paperwork. So and that's all I have to present. I'll take the slide down.
All right, thank you very much, Diana.
Thanks.
Up next, representing Region 3 from the Libertytown Unionville Lions, our next guest I saw firsthand is the 2021 Funnel Cake Master of the Universe at the Frederick County Fair. Here to give us a multi-dimensional look at the Leo Club from the club perspective, the parent perspective, and the student perspective is Lion Eric Anderson. Lion Eric.
Thanks, Jeremy, and thanks all for having me. And a little bit outside of my remarks, a couple of the remarks that you all made just reminded me to pass along that it's always good to keep in mind that you never know that interaction that you're going to have with somebody in the community, whether it's a family member, a friend, that's going to cause that ripple in the pond that grows and grows. So always good to keep that, first and foremost in our minds. So my portion of this discussion focuses not just on my perspective as the father of a Leo, but also on the opportunities afforded for growth within the Lions. So I've heard numerous times that one of the challenges facing the Lions is the need to get younger. And here is both an anecdotal tale as well as one of the possible paths forward to meet that goal. So about 10 years ago, the Libertytown Unionville Lions went to bat on behalf of the community for an issue we were facing in Frederick County at the time. And I still believe that the Lions' influence helped turn the tide in favor of our part of the county. And so our community prevailed in that issue. At the same time, the Lions' work was noticeable in other ways through playground equipment donations at Liberty Elementary, financially supported by the Lions, local youth sports support, and several other endeavors around Libertytown. I don't remember exactly how, but at some point in 2012 or thereabouts, I heard that help was needed at the Lions booth at the Frederick Fair, supporting their pizza and food sales. So I decided to give back to the Lions by volunteering there. And either that same year or the year after, I realized that the food fundraiser at the fair was not only a great opportunity to volunteer, but also a great learning opportunity for our daughters. So we asked if they wanted to participate. And from that time forward, all three of our daughters were involved through the years with volunteering at the fair booth. Unbeknownst to me, at some point in her time as a student at Newmarket Middle School, our youngest daughter, Isabella, mentioned that she was working on a project at the school involving the upkeep and creation of picnic tables, and that it was for the Leo Club at the middle school. From that point on, her own journey was one of involvement with the Leos at Newmarket Middle. And in the meantime, I joined the Libertytown Unionville Lions as a member about 2016, and Bella continued to volunteer for us at the fair and at the Libertytown Carnival, and got involved in other ventures for the Lions. So at some point, I learned that she had become president of the Leo Club, and that she and current Vice President Matt Coffey and others were working to establish a Leo Club at Linganore High School. In the meantime, the Leos at the middle school continued to grow in strength and numbers under the guidance of faculty advisor Ashley Yox. With a small group forming at Linganore High, largely under the guidance of the Newmarket Lions and Lion Linwood there, and supported by the Libertytown Unionville Lions and Lion Jack, the group ran into a significant challenge in the form of the pandemic. Any momentum that they had was quickly stifled by the lack of in-person group meetings at the school, and while some Leo activities continued, the overall number of Leos, about 5, was not enough to warrant an official charter of the club at the school. So this past year, several positive developments occurred. At a recent meeting in Newmarket in the fall, Ms. Yox from the middle school was recognized along with the achievements of the Newmarket Middle School Leo Club, which has now grown in size to approximately 30 students. At Linganore High School, buoyed by the addition of faculty advisor James Jensen and the return of in-person learning, the Leos have grown from 5 to a group that now numbers between 15 and 20 students. Bella and Matt and the core leaders of the Leos there have been involved in multiple projects, such as supporting the Catoctin Zoo with post-Halloween pumpkin donations, letters of thanks for area law enforcement and first responders, and support for the Frederick Community Action Agency via Lancer Candy Cane Lane. Just this past week, processes were put in motion to officially charter the Linganore High School Leo Club as an official Leo Club. What does this mean to me? Well, obviously I'm a proud father, and I'm even more proud that the majority of what Bella has accomplished has nothing to do with me. She and Matt and those who work together on the Leos obviously have a mission of service in their hearts, and they're making it work largely on their own. But for every advisor and Lion involved, there are also parents and siblings and friends and others who have become aware or will become aware of the Lions, and perhaps will become more drawn to become Lions themselves. Take Mrs. Yox, for example, whose service at the middle school led her to become a Lion. In this way, we can work to keep the Lions energized and engaged and draw new members into our midst to keep serving the community. Thank you all.
Thanks a lot, Eric. Thanks for joining us. Lastly, our last 2 guests I have worked with very closely over the last 8 months. It's been a great process, a long process. And from the Taylorsville Winfield Club, Lion Jim Lutz, and New Windsor Region Chair Rachel Graham, they're here to talk about multi-club projects, including the Diabetic Alert Service Dog Project. Lion Rachel.
Thank you, Jeremy. This is still very near and dear to our hearts since we just had our celebration. So let me give you the story. In May of 2021, Jim, a member of the Taylorsville Winfield Lions Club, received a call from the mother of Carson, a Westminster High School senior. He was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes as a child. He wears a continuous glucose monitor that alerts him and his mother whenever there is a problem with his sugar count. He is also on an insulin pump. On occasion, his blood sugars have dropped low at night while he is sleeping, and the alarm from his monitor isn't able to awaken him. It did obviously alert his mother, and she's always able to help him. He is under care of a doctor at the Sinai Hospital, and the family reports monthly the readings of the monitor and the pump to them for adjustments. The family is fortunately part of a support group, and they recommended a diabetic alert service dog for their son. The family researched this and chose to get a dog from Diabetic Alert Dogs of America in Nevada. They put down a deposit of $2,500, but still owed a balance of $13,000. Their son Carson had been accepted into University of Delaware and was to begin there in the fall of 2021. The family talked to the university and they agreed to make accommodations for the dog. They also spoke to his roommates who also gave their approval. Jim, knowing that this project was too big for one club to handle, met with his current region chair, which was Jeremy, for his suggestions. He suggested he talk to someone about a grant, which he did, but the grant process would have taken too long for them to be able to get the dog for college. He also thought about a GoFundMe page, but the family didn't want that type of exposure for Carson. Jim, his current region chair, and Jeremy and Rachel, the incoming region chair, which almost made me say no to the job. It was quite a large undertaking. They decided to hit all the clubs in our region, which we did. Jim had his schedule all made out. Jeremy and I rode along for the ride and met with all the clubs in the region to see if they would be interested in joining the project. That took many months to accomplish, but over time, all clubs were addressed and all clubs wanted to help. All 16 clubs have made a financial commitment. As we made our visits to the club, we had some individuals that also wanted to make a difference in the project, and they either made personal donations or they belonged to other organizations that they talked to and they wanted to contribute, which they did. We also got a donation from 22W Diabetes Awareness. Jim, Jeremy, and I were so excited when the funds started coming in, and I can tell you the family was stunned. Never, when they first contacted Jim, did they think that the Lions Club would come up just short of $15,000. We had promised, as we did our visitations, that there would be a meeting in January, a dinner in January, while Carson was home from college, for them to meet him, his family, and his new diabetic alert service dog. I'm happy to report that we just had that dinner this past Thursday, in which all donors were invited to attend. Even with all the craziness going on right now, we had a great turnout and the people got to meet Carson and his family and his new dog, Bo. They walked away with hearts full, knowing they helped a wonderful family, a family that just wanted to keep their son safe, give him the opportunity to lead as normal of a life as possible while attending college. I can only speak for myself, but I couldn't be prouder of our region and everyone else that helped on this project. It was an 8 months project, but well worth the time and effort. This shows when we work together as Lions, we can accomplish so much. I love the way everyone came together. Don't be afraid to recruit help from outside your club, especially your Lions brothers and sisters. That's it. Jim?
Lion Jim.
There we go. Good evening, everyone. I had no idea how this would transpire going forward. I set a goal for $4,000. Within the first month, we had exceeded that goal, and it just kept going. Important to me was to not divulge who was doing what in the way of dollar amounts. I felt that that was a club decision, and it should be, the fact that we were contributing together to get to the finish line was important, not whether this one did more than the other one. To me, it's not a numbers game. It's everybody coming together, as past district governor Evan put out a little while ago, coming together, doing something for a common goal. And it just worked out wonderfully. Nobody really knows how I got that phone call. The family's from Westminster. I'm in Taylorsville. So for some reason, the Lions Club she chose to call was in Taylorsville. And fortunately, I was in the right frame of mind that day. But it worked out famously. I thought privacy was important for the clubs. So that, and then, you know, visitations, I'll draw something on that for a moment. A lot of our clubs outside the district were making visitations while we were doing presentations. And those clubs then decided to jump on board. Frederick was one that was outside our region, but they were doing a visitation one night when I was at another club. And then they wanted to be a part of the process also. So that's, I think, an important aspect of club visitations. They can be pulled in. You know, you just never know what thing's going to hit a sweet spot.
All right, that mom could not have made a better first call. You were
You
the
got that
you
right.
were the guy for the job. All right. I thank everybody for participating tonight. Lyon Lois, District Governor Charlie, would you like to have some brief remarks?
I'll let Lyon Lois go first if she'd like.
Okay. I just want to say thank you. I think this was a very, very good meeting. A lot of good ideas shared, and I want to thank everybody for joining in. Good job. Charlie?
I will echo the comments that Lois just made. I come away from this session overjoyed with what I'm seeing and hearing. Kind of goes hand in hand with what I see when I make my official visits. It is so heartwarming to know that Lions throughout our district are doing exactly what they're supposed to do in that service. Again, I had the pleasure and privilege, I think the word privilege is more important at this point, to be at the dinner on Thursday night. And, you know, the comments that were made by Region Chair Rachel and Lions Secretary Jim about that particular event, you know, can't really speak enough of how good that feeling was and how proud we as Lions should be that we could come together and to make that project happen. So kudos to all those who were involved with that. Again, this evening, great job to all the presenters, great panel, and such a diverse group. And it was just heartwarming to hear more and more what we're doing. Very excited to hear that we'll have now a second new Leo Club in our district this year with there at Linganore. That's great news, and excited to hear about that. And one of the things that I've been keep reminding and suggesting with the new Leo Club in Hagerstown, let's try to get the parents of those Leos involved as much as we possibly can, because there's an opportunity for a branch club right there among the parents of the Leos, if they're so inclined. And then hopefully maybe they'll gravitate into the actual Lions Club itself. So, you know, there's great opportunities for us throughout. Those opportunities are abundant. And it's a matter of recognizing those opportunities and seeing and taking them and trying to run with them and to make those possible. So again, thank you all for your great presentation. I mean, I've seen a lot of presentations, both on the district, multiple district level, as well as on with Lions Clubs International. And I would put this panel of speakers up against anybody I've seen or heard so far. So great job, everybody. And thank you for taking your lovely Sunday evening of watching the snow or out there shoveling snow and spending some time with fellow Lions. Thank you.
I agree, District Governor. As I went to USA Canada Forum, I think some of these presentations are right on par with everything that you see at that level. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us this evening. We will not have a meeting next week as it will be our cabinet meeting. So District Governor Charlie will have his cabinet meeting, but we will see you for the third and final leadership Zoom in 2 Sundays. So have a great evening and thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks all. Thanks, Jeremy.